and we serve the counties of Divide, McKenzie, Montreal, and Williams. In 2016, we went through a strategic planning process and we added the regional economic developers to our board so we could truly get a regional view of what was going on in western North Dakota. In 2019, we changed our name from Williston Area Economic Development to Western Region Economic Development, to better show that we are out here to support the communities. Who we have today, we'll start off with some introductions and let them tell you a bit about themselves. First we have Daniel Stenberg with Economic Development in McKenzie County.
Sure, my name is Daniel Stenberg. Like she said, McKenzie County. I grew up about 10 miles northwest of Watford City. Lived away for 15 years after high school and made my way back. I didn't think I'd be back in Watford City, but it's amazing the way life works out, and it's fun to be back. It's kind of the familiarity of having grown up there, but then the newness of all the new folks and the new opportunities that have come about in the past recent years.
All right. Dennis Lindahl with Tioga Economic Development.
Hi, I'm Dennis Lindahl. I've been Economic Development Director in Tioga for about 6 years. I'm originally from Minot, and once I didn't think that I would end up back in North Dakota, but it's been quite a ride during the boom, and we just really appreciate being out here. Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Everett Eno. I am the Executive Director of the Tri-County Regional Development Council here in Williston. And we provide support in the areas of community and economic development for all the communities and all the developers here. We've worked in projects in the areas of small business finance, community development, loan development, that sort of thing, project administration. And basically our main goal here is to go and provide support to the gentlemen here and the ladies here, and to also try and help the regional economy go and diversify. And so we're not the main focus of economic development in our region. The gentlemen and ladies here are, and basically our job here, as far as my position, is to go in and provide support to them. Thank you.
Casey Lindsay.
Is it not? Okay. Hi. Sorry. I'm Casey Lindsay. I'm the Economic Development Director up in Divide County in the city of Crosby, and I grew up in Hazen, so I'm a Western North Dakota-ite, I guess. And I've lived in Crosby since 2010 when I took the position as the Economic Development Director up there. Our focus is largely on community development and quality of life. And from there, kind of leads into the economic development side of it. I also work under Keith Olson as a SBDC advisor up in Divide County.
Keith Olson.
I'm Keith Olson. I'm the Regional Director for the Small Business Development Center located at Williston State College. I don't know what sounds better, starting year 19 or just short of 20 years, doing the same job. Basically, it's my job to support entrepreneurs in the area with business plans, cash flows, and really my job is to make these guys and Sean look good and let them take all the credit for the work. I get great help from Sean's staff and these guys with clients, and it's just our job to get stuff done, more or less. With all these great opportunities, we're trying to help people get financing and work through whatever issues are out there and get some business starts.
So a question to our panel would be, what programs and funding resources are offered in each of your communities to assist business growth and development?
I'll start. So up in Crosby, primarily it's the hub of Divide County, we just created last year an exterior revitalization grant program to entice our business owners to put a little investment into their exterior of their buildings, just kind of spruce up the community a little bit. And so we've had 2 applications so far. Of course, we launched it April 1st of last year, so not many people were really able to take that initiative and move forward in repainting their buildings or placing new signage. So it's exciting to be able to see that program take off. We also have our sales tax fund that provides interest buy down dollars, so we can leverage state dollars for some of our projects. We also use that fund for quality of life projects as well, supporting our local organizations to grow that piece. And then we have a local revolving loan fund that I think intended to be used as gap financing, which then since 2011 kind of had shifted to just kind of be a sideline loan fund that's low interest. And at this point in time, we're exploring different types of housing programs, more so for down payment assistance or rehab assistance programs. We've got a lot of older stock homes, and just trying to provide some opportunities and incentives for our current and new community members to make that initial investment and support them making that home for their family.
Oh, yes. Very similar to what other communities have is we have a very vibrant economic development fund. It accrues right now at about $30,000 a month, and that's based on transactions that occur at the Hess plant. That's we're happy to have there. And so because of that vibrant fund, we do a lot of kind of a blend. So worthy projects that the Tioga EDC evaluates, we forward that to the Tioga Fund, and then the Tioga Fund, they can, based on our recommendations, they can either grant or they can provide zero interest loans. And so that really provides a jump start, especially when you're talking about projects where it might have community benefit, but there might not be a lot of realization for profit. So for example, the Black Gold Dance Studio, it's for kids, very well trained. They came from California. They are here because of the oil patch. They thought, the wife would like to teach dance, and so we did kind of a blend. We got them $30,000. I believe it was 50% grant, so they just got $15,000 to open the studio. That took care of a lot of their flooring and some of the things that they need. And then it was also a $15,000 loan. So we do kind of these blended things, and like I said, based on the project worthiness, we built a park downtown that was 100% funded by the Tioga Fund. Some other projects, it's difficult because, we have this money available, but then businesses think, well, are there strings attached? Well, sometimes there is, you got to pay the money back, or you can get the grant. And so those are kind of some of the things that we do. We do have a storefront improvement grant, and we do have a Renaissance zone, and so those are kind of some of the things that we do, and make things happen. We try to be very liberal, try to think outside the box. Those job creation funds were started, back in the late 70s when, we had a lot of North Dakota out-migration, and they were specifically for, creating jobs. Well, you can say, well, if you build a park, that creates a job, that creates quality of life. And so we try to use those funds in kind of creative ways. We funded micro retail in our downtown park. So we have these little pods where people can start businesses, and it's given to them at very, very affordable cost. We've had 2 clothing stores now actually start in the micro retail, and they've spun off and they actually have their own facilities now. And so just little things like that. We try to be really creative. We also use the Economic Development Fund to fund the ever popular and famous drone camp for kids, if I may promote that. That happens in September. And so those are the things we do and focus the money on.
So back down in McKenzie County, Watford City has the Rough Rider Fund. That's the sales tax fund. Just going through the tremendous growth that we've seen, we've actually focused a lot of that funding more on our healthcare and our Rough Rider Center. As we generally haven't had, the past 5-10 years, we haven't had an issue so much with new businesses coming in. It's been more getting an attractive workforce to come fill the jobs that we've had. So we've also focused on housing, single-family housing projects as well, where we can either incentivize the builder. Our housing development subsidy program, we're just about to the end of the amount of funds that we have apportioned for that $2 million, where we provide up to $50,000 to get a single-family house built in the county. And then we also have about 120 lots coming online where we help pay for the infrastructure, and then with the agreement that the developer is going to sell it at a capped price to just hopefully incentivize more and more single-family housing, because that's been more of an impediment for us than the jobs. But then, yeah, we also definitely utilize Keith a ton with all of his services. Whenever somebody comes and calls me and they're like, oh, I want to start a business, I was like, have you talked with Keith? Okay, if not, I'm going to go talk with Keith, because he can help with all of the services that he can talk about, the programs that he works with Bank of North Dakota and everything, so.
I guess the biggest challenge is just trying to keep up to all the programs that are in everybody's cities and trying to find the best fit for the clients we work with. And then we have other tools in our toolbox, like the Opportunity Fund. We use those a great deal for local match for flex pace, and we use it for revolving loan funds. They have a disaster loan fund. So we've tried to find fits for whatever business comes in. Just to give you an idea where we're at year to date, I know everybody gets tired of hearing people say you're busy. So far in the through April, we've assisted 252 clients, which our goal is like 100 for the year. Last year we did 352 clients. We've booked about $17 million in small business loans and 11 business starts. Last year we did 40 business starts. I know this past Tuesday was probably the biggest Star Fund agenda we've had. I think we had 11 mini matches. I think 7 of those were new business starts just in one meeting. Howard keeps saying don't worry about running out of money, but I'm starting to sweat. So if you see him, ask him where the rest of the year is supposed to come from. We got a lot of great clients, a lot of great stories. We could fill up hours with all the great people that we work with. All of the businesses I work with did a phenomenal job surviving COVID, with the help of PPP and all that. I'm more worried about what's going on now with our supply chain disruption, and that they all are doing great, but they have nothing to sell. If they're a repair shop, getting parts is I could go on for hours with some of the stories I've heard in the last couple of weeks about the challenges they have getting product. A lot of our people that sell ATVs, side-by-sides, cars, whatever, may not get a whole lot of new stuff the rest of the year, and I think that's the challenge. Trying to help them reinvent themselves as much as they can, keep costs down, but just one of the things that when I was sitting back there listening, there's so far in this year, there's 17 work weeks, so we're averaging like 22 clients a week, which, doesn't sound bad, but our average time spent per client is 2.1 hours, so that's 42 hours a week we're spending on clients, and that doesn't include, session notes. Every time I meet with a client, we got to do a note on them, meetings, continuing ed, we're not getting to do the follow-ups we want. So it's great that it's a free program and we're able to assist as many people as we can. Just when we're seeing this kind of activity, it's hard for us to spend the kind of time with these clients that we want and probably need to. I think the most satisfying thing for me this year, as dumb as this probably sounds, is I had a client that hadn't been in since 2005. And they had a project they wanted to do in 2005, and things weren't right. They'd spent time saving some money, fixing credit score, getting the kids out of the house, and now it was finally their time to do what they wanted to do. So I think that speaks to the great support the region gives our program and the resources we have for entrepreneurs. We probably had 20 clients this year that haven't been in over 5 years. And I think if that doesn't demonstrate the entrepreneurial spirit that we have with people who live out here, I don't know what else would. That it's always on their mind, they always want to do something, and it's our job to help them when we can.
Just to reiterate what Keith had been talking about, is that we provide administrative support for the Small Business Development Center. And within the last year, we have seen the amount of clients that come through his office and also come to our office for technical assistance and also other services. It just skyrocketed. I guess I didn't think it would be that busy after the COVID, everything else going on, but I think it's just kind of a testament to what's going on here in our region. Our region is slowly starting to rebuild and also rebound from the pandemic. And it's a slow, measured progress, and I think that's really good for the for the region. And I think with the amount of activity going on with Keith's office and with all the other developers within our region, I think that bodes well for our region, and I think it's going to be a lot of progress in the future, and we're going to see a lot of growth. It's not going to be the frenetic growth we've seen back during the boom, but it's still going to be growth, and I think that's good for the region. Right now, we're also working on at least 2 projects, one up in the Crosby area for a potential manufacturing facility that we're looking at going in and trying to get that done. We're also going to be working on another project here in Williams County for a potential biofuels refinery process. That's going to be a big project, and we're hoping to get started on that here very quickly and get involved with that and try and get them going and try and get some financing for them and get everything in place. That could be a good job creator for the region. And this all kind of ties into what we're trying to do as far as trying to go in and diversify our regional economy. You know, I think when you look at nationwide, you'll see some areas where the economies had a huge downturn because of COVID and everything else going on. But I think in our region here, I think we're able to kind of weather the storm a lot better compared to other parts of the country, just because of the diversified economy that we have right now. That's been built up in the last 12, 15 years. And the way things are going right now, that's going to continue. And I think right now it looks good for our area. So things are looking good right now.
Thank you, Everett. That does kind of lead into, the next question I had for the group here is, what primary sector partnerships have you built in your communities?
Well, I'll start there. So Watford City is the only town with a Class A high school that doesn't have a college presence located in our community. And we see workforce development as one of our huge areas where we need to improve, and we don't expect another college to just come and locate in McKenzie County, just the way we've got a lot of colleges already in this state. But I think what we are trying to figure out is just kind of the more nimble approach to workforce development. Not everybody needs a 4-year degree, but what can we be doing with a quasi community college / career academy for our school. And so we're super excited that the funding for grants came through for career academies, and so we're anxiously awaiting for them to get that grant language out. But we've been working with our specifically the petroleum industry mostly, with meeting with them and trying to understand their needs and how they change and what we can be doing. We've been meeting kind of quarterly. It's been a little bit different with the coronavirus, but we're going to get re-engaged again pretty soon with them to just, if we can help support them, but then also support our workforce that maybe wants to shift. Maybe they've been trucking and now they want to go start welding, or something like that. If we can provide that training in our local community, we just see that as a workforce retention strategy. But then also healthcare. Kenley's been super helpful in the Williston State with nursing. We got an LPN program started, but we had 15 apply and there was only 8 spots to do. And so we want to see that expand, figure out how we can make sure that we can grow our own with both healthcare, with petroleum, with any of our workforce, but especially those that there's enough training to make it worth having some more training provided.
So primary sector for us is, the typical. Of course, we have Hess, which is, does the natural gas, and then we have Enel Green Power North America. Those 2 partners are really great because they support a lot of local education programs. They support our schools, and they support, once again, the Drone Camp for Kids, but also we're really pursuing the 21st century jobs. We did have a operator there north of town that was, they were processing Bitcoin. They did have a data center. We had a lot of optimism for that, and so the conditions of purchasing gas kind of became unfavorable, but those are still operating in the area, and so we do hope that they'll come back to our industrial park that we're proposing on the north side. But really, a part of the Bitcoin and the crypto, there's also, when you start doing the Bitcoin and the crypto and you start processing, there is surplus energy that comes off those servers as heat. And so that heat can also be captured and that can be used. So we were pursuing indoor agriculture with that as well. So just a lot of things, just trying to pursue the 21st century. We have also partnered with University of Mary to do some workforce development. We just had our first class yesterday afternoon. And so, hopefully some of those employers will take part. And back to the programs that we got a $30,000 grant from the Tioga Fund to invite University of Mary. So, that's a lot. $30,000 is a lot of training. And so we're hoping that, that adds to the quality of life and that people can, really get involved and, especially with attracting the workforce. Because if you come to the area from someplace else and you bring a spouse, let's say, and but you know what you're going to do, but you don't know what your spouse is going to do. Having these workforce development programs are very good because they can go in, they can, maybe they don't know Microsoft Word, maybe they don't know Excel, maybe they don't know how to run an effective meeting. And so bringing University of Mary in with that is it's very exciting for us. So those are some of the kind of things there.
For us, primary sector is a little bit different. We have one primary sector certified business in Divide County, and that is a project that I'm working with Everett on. They're locating from a farm just north of Wild Rose to fill one of our large buildings on Main Street in Crosby. And with that project, there's a lot of moving parts to kind of make that happen, and parts of those include a USDA grant for equipment, Agricultural Products Utilization Commission grant for marketing and planning. We're in the process of the Community Development Block Grant Program with Everett's office. They've received payment in lieu of taxes from the city of Crosby. And they were also approved for a flex-based interest buy-down grant, which is going to provide them with approximately $40,000 between the city of Crosby and BND for their program and project. So it's been a long process. They're not completed yet. And so that is a big part of it. On a career and workforce development type of standpoint, I've been playing a larger role with involving myself in the school and working with our career counselor and trying to provide opportunities to bring in our local businesses to talk to the students about opportunities that exist within their fields, what our community is looking for in the future. We're also in the process of doing a business retention and expansion plan and getting insight from those local businesses. Are they looking to sell in the next 3 to 5 years? Are they wanting to expand, and how we can play a role in that.
I think the biggest support we can provide to all of the developers is if somebody comes in and has a project, the old saying, I know a guy, that's kind of what our job is to find whether it's Impact Dakota, any of the funding sources we have, some at USDA, just to make sure we make the right referrals, because it's not possible to know everything about every program. If anybody's got one of those yellow books like Bitcoin for Dummies, I would really like one, because I really got to figure this out.
I think the newest is Pi. So what other organizations in your area make up your ecosystem for assisting entrepreneurs? I know our Economic Development Office attends Williston API meetings, the chamber meetings, and does rely on those groups and their membership for feedback, and as well as our 1 Million Cups program to get the stories out of the local entrepreneurs. What are some of you seeing in your communities in those partnerships?
Well, I guess formally we also have a chamber in Watford City, and they do various network luncheons and annual meetings and such like that. And then we have an Economic Development Corporation, a nonprofit. They kind of mostly do a monthly meeting. So those are kind of formal ones, but then I think sometimes even the more valuable is the informal just networks that happen. Somebody hears somebody who's starting a business over there, and they can kind of keep going there, and just kind of exactly what Keith said is like, oh, I know a guy who knows a guy. Those connections tend to be even more powerful when you can find and match up those people like that.
So one of our primary partners is actually the city. We have a building inspector who has really taken a liking to and an interest in community development. So he's kind of changed his title from planning and zoning to more of community development. So it's that relationship is crucial, because when people stumble in, they say, hey, I'm looking for a building, or I need a building permit, then he can immediately, kind of drill into what it is that they're trying to do and get them over to the EDC. And so, there's so many people that come and they don't necessarily understand that there's especially financial assistance. They don't understand the programs, and so they may run out in front on their own. But it's really good to have somebody in that city office that's not just somebody who's well, go see the economic development person, or go see the chamber, or go see, but it's actually someone who is very, very focused on the community development, interested in the community development, and then they can start to develop ask some of the basic, simple questions, and then get them over to me. So having that city employee there really expedites the process.
I think with our office, the most important piece of networking is the informal meetings that I have with the developers, and also sometimes when we can get together, is to have our meetings on a monthly basis, or sooner if we can. With everything going on in the region, it's really hard for our office to go in and try and keep track of what's going on. There are a lot of things that are happening within the region that are happening in spite of us, so to speak. So we try and keep up, but trying to go and meet with the developers and to get an idea of what's going on within their region, within their community. If they have some potential projects coming up where we can probably assist or whatever, we try and get involved whenever we can. So for me and for our office, our most important piece of networking is meeting with our developers, and also with some of the city officials when we can.
So for Divide County and the city of Crosby, our ecosystem kind of consists of our chamber, our economic development council, our JDA, our cities, and myself. I'm kind of the central key point for a lot of what happens in the county, whether it's somebody looking for housing, or somebody looking for a building for their business, or if they want to start a new business. Generally, most people will refer them to myself, because I have my hand in almost all things that are going on within the county. And that's part of the job that I was hired to do, is to kind of be that kind of ad hoc volunteer, I guess, that knows and goes to as many organization meetings as I can, so that we aren't overlapping services and we're all working together to create a better community.
I guess the one thing I'll say is I've got to apologize to planning and zoning, the building department upstairs, because being in the same building is one of the best ideas I think Williston has done. We're constantly referring people upstairs to make sure we get them the right answer when they come in. For people to be able to come in and get answers on a building question, can they do what they want to do, where they're located? It's just the amount of time it saves us by being in the same building. I don't know why all the big communities haven't gone to this model, because it just plain works. And the pace is hectic. There's days that, I don't know, Sean and I, my office are 30 feet apart, and there might be days that we don't even see each other. So the activity level is strong, but being in the same building, probably in the last 2 weeks, Sean's been able to run upstairs and ask Mark a question on a project, and we were able to get an answer for the client. So it used to take us weeks. Now we try and get done in minutes. Williston, when it comes to things like food trucks, coffee kiosks, all those things, there's just a lot of planning and zoning that goes with it. So being able to get people those answers instantaneously either helps them go on the right track, or we have to go to plan A or plan B or plan C to get done what they want to do. So I guess that's my big pitch, is just having us all in the same location, and then having great access to Casey when we need to, and Dennis and Daniel when we're in those communities is huge.
I'm going to go ahead then and now open it up if there are any questions for our economic developers. Yes.
I don't have a question, but just so the audience understands, I worked with economic development in the city now for 25 years, and great staff and people along the way, and these are all great partners with us in the region. And the workforce that they're trying to get in their communities is important to Williston as it is to them. But I heard a story a long time ago about economic developers, and I'm going to give it to you now to give you a perspective of how they think about things. A big business came into the community and met with the developer, and the guy said to the developer, what's 2 plus 2? If you can answer that, I'll bring my business in. And the economic developer said to him, what do you want?
Leading off of that, the Western Region Economic Development has worked with all of these great partners up here as well, and we do value their feedback on what's going on in each of their communities. At times of legislation, writing letters of support for the Theodore Roosevelt Expressway, which is Highway 85 and the 4-laning of it. Most recently, being reached out to by the Western Dakota Energy Association and the North Dakota Petroleum Council to lend our support behind a Senate bill for core spacing that will bring additional diversification and growth to our region. And without their insight, we would not be able to do those letters of support and have the feedback of what it truly means to Western North Dakota. So having added them to our regional board has truly made it regional, has helped us greatly. And we get to hear from them once a month, so we kind of have a better idea of what's going on in those communities around us, so that has been a great experience for us. So we are going to, if there are no additional questions, we are going to wrap up, and we will have the next panel, the North Dakota Department of Commerce overview, come up.